Question one is all about sharing your opinion on a given topic. As you know, you have 15 seconds to prepare and 45 seconds to make your point. It sounds quick, right? And that's where the grid comes in. It transforms those seconds into a clear and compelling narrative if you do it right. I like to think of the grid as a 3-act sequence, okay? Like a 3-act play. Act 1, for the first 15 seconds, this is your opening scene. Start with a hook, personalize the message. Then you unveil your thesis. That's it. That's the first 15 seconds of the first act. The second act, it's now time to state and elaborate on your first reason. So come out with a strong verb or a strong adjective to lead your point. Then you jump into an example or an explanation that paints a more clear picture that supports your point. The third act, your narrative continues to strengthen as you state your second reason, and then you support that. You close that out with another example or supporting explanation. Timing in each of these acts, in each of these parts, is crucial. You want 15 seconds for each part with a strong transition out of the first part into the second part and out of the second part into the third part. Remember, the Q1 grid is just a guide. It's a framework. It's there to help you construct your response in a logical, engaging way. Use it to practice, and soon delivering these structured, highly structured responses will become second nature to you. Let's see the grid in action, okay? I'm going to pop into our most popular test, ETS Prep, and deconstruct the model response, and then load that into the grid and play the response.
I completely agree that children should receive an allowance for performing household chores and helping out around the house. Firstly, it encourages them to contribute to their family and instills a sense of responsibility. Additionally, it can teach them important skills such as time management and budgeting when they receive payment for their efforts. Secondly, performing household chores can help them develop a strong work ethic and a sense of accomplishment. By acknowledging the meaning of the reward for their hard work, children can learn the importance of earning and managing money, which are crucial life skills. Thus, providing children with an allowance for performing household chores is an effective way to teach them valuable life lessons while contributing to their family's well-being.
Notice that the model aligns pretty well here with the grid. I would personalize the introduction here by praising the question and connecting it to my own life. This is a tactic that I discuss in my free Substack course. For example, I love this question because as a father of a 6-year-old daughter, I'm interested in anything having to do with parenting strategy. Then I go into my thesis. That's the first 15 seconds. I transition out first, okay? Now, of course, the model responses in my speaking score are just there to inspire you. So I encourage you to play around with them, to experiment with them in this way. Now, by adding content to my first act, my first part of my first act, right, I'm also adding time. So let's see how this sounds now. I'm aiming for 15 seconds. Yeah, I love this question because as a father of a 6-year-old daughter, I'm constantly interested in anything having to do with parenting strategy. And I completely agree that children should receive an allowance for performing household chores and helping out around the house for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it encourages them to contribute to their family and it instills a sense of responsibility. For example, financially compensating your kids can teach them important life skills such as time management and budgeting when they receive payment for their efforts. Secondly, performing household chores can help them develop a strong work ethic and a sense of accomplishment. For example, by acknowledging the meaning of the reward for their hard work, children can learn the importance of earning and managing money, which are crucial life skills. Okay, notice how I added the setup here for a couple of reasons. For a couple of reasons, I actually could have said for a couple of very important reasons, but I'm super happy with the timing here. Okay, on to the second part. Firstly, it encourages them to contribute to their family and it instills a sense of responsibility. For example, financially compensating your kids can teach them important life skills such as time management and budgeting when they receive payment for their efforts. Okay, now for this fourth zone here, the second half of the second act, if you will, the support for the first reason, I prefer to transition into that with, for example, or for instance, okay? I also look for a way to add a fancy word, at least one low frequency word or phrase into my response. And during the 15-second prep time, this is when I'm really looking to do that, to come up with a synonym or a low frequency way to express a concept related to the prompt, okay? And financially compensate does that neatly here. It's going to help me with my language use score, specifically with my vocabulary depth, the verb compensate, to compensate, and it should help me with my vocabulary diversity score with the adverb financially. So financially compensate is a great way that I can add value there. Now, transitioning into zone 5 here in the top right-hand corner to start the third act, my second reason with secondly. So I really want to punch that transition word, but don't add any dramatic pauses here between your transitions, okay? Minimize pausing. Listen, I don't want to say secondly, performing household chores, get right into it. Secondly, performing household chores can help them develop a strong work ethic and a sense of accomplishment. For example, by acknowledging the meaning of the reward for their hard work, children can learn the importance of earning and managing money, which are crucial life skills. By adding a personalized intro at the beginning, I don't have to rely on the restatement at the end anymore, this little conclusion. You can drop that now, right?
Thus, providing children with an allowance for performing household chores is an effective way to teach them valuable life lessons while contributing to their family's well-being.
Again, if there is time remaining, circle back to your thesis and restate it, right? If you have an extra 5 seconds, if you've somehow mismanaged the flow, don't panic, but don't leave a 7-second space at the end of your response. Circle back. That's why I believe that it's so important to financially compensate children for performing household chores, right? That's why I strongly believe that paying children for helping out around the house is so important, something like that, okay? So here's what my grid looks like. This is the amount of information I can put on the grid during that 15-second prep time. I'm thinking, one, I need a way in to my response. For me, finding a way to connect any question 1 task to my personal life is very valuable. For me, to my daughter Kayla, performing household chores, financially compensating Kayla for performing household chores, etc., is really a nice way into that, and it just happens to be true, okay? And then so I'm going to go on to the yes side of paying kids to help out around the house, paying kids an allowance to help out around the house. And then I'm going to move into my first point. Look for a verb. I always like to look for a verb. What is it going to do? What is it going to do? What is paying a kid going to do? It's going to encourage them. Encourage them to do what? Encourage them to instill a sense of responsibility into themselves. Okay, that sounds good. And then how is it going to do that? Well, it's going to teach them about time management and budgeting. And this is maybe where I'll stick in that financial compensation phrase, that money phrase, right? Then I'm going to transition into my second point for the third act. What else is it going to do? It's going to develop. It's going to develop what? A work ethic. Okay, good. That seems to align well. It follows well from my first point. And then how is it going to do that? Well, it's going to teach them the value of hard work, right? And maybe exchanging their labor for money. Maybe that's going to help them get prepared for later on in life when they're going to have to exchange their labor for money in some way, right? Okay. I'll add here that referring to money throughout is a good idea. I mean, this prompt is about paying kids money. So I don't want to veer off topic. I don't want to get too philosophical either. I just want to mention money. That's the heart of the prompt here, and it's going to render my response much more cohesive. I'm thinking during the prep time, money, payment, compensation, reward, allowance, right? Okay, I'm thinking about all of these terms in the semantic field of money that is going to allow me to find a couple of low frequency words or phrases that I can somehow thread in there. Okay, in the next video, we're going to tackle question 2, question 3, and question 4, grids. The integrated grids share a lot of the similar features, and I'm going to show you how to operationalize that. But for now, take the Q1 grid for a spin, apply it to some practice questions, and see how it strengthens your responses. Get comfortable with it, and you'll walk into the TOEFL speaking section with much more confidence. Kicking off your speaking section with a strong result, it's going to fill you with that confidence that you need to move into question 2. And you get that one, you know you nailed it. It's going to feel great. Okay, thanks for watching. Practice hard, and I'll see you in the next session where we'll continue to build on your newfound strengths with the grid. Until then, happy practice.